Welcome to another S&P 500 analysis. This is the midweek edition. Today is March 3rd, 2021. The S&P 500 continues to be choppy, and on the surface, many market participants are saying the market has seen its high and it is heading for a major correction. My question to those that are making that assertion is, did you see a top? I certainly would like to know what makes you conclude that February 16 high on the S&P 500 is the market top. In this video, we will look at the market sentiment, market internal, and the price action of the indexes. And I will pose one simple question to those that believe the top is in, and to see if you could answer this question. If you could answer this question, I'll learn something new from you. If not, then maybe you will learn something soon. So let's go learn together. Stay tuned. Now in this video, I'd like to start off with this chart here. This is an intraday chart. The upper chart here is the S&P 500. It is on a 15-minute intraday chart here. And down here is the new high, new low for the New York Stock Exchange. And here is the up-down volume ratio. And this is the VIX index. And also the put-call ratio here. And then we have the daily advanced decline. What I'd like to highlight here is, as you can see, the S&P 500 opened, came up, and then slowly fade all the way down until the last 15 minutes. Then it got a little dump on the last 15 minutes. Now let's remind ourselves, today is Wednesday, and it is OpX Wednesday. Okay, so we could expect the shenanigan and trickery, the dump and and pump and all these kind of stuff, just to do this pin stuff on these option player. It shouldn't be surprised to us, that the game that the machine will play during the day of option expiration. Because the S&P and the Spider option expire on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, the thing that I like to highlight here, right, if you take a look at here, the new high, new low, right, it started climbing. Even though the S&P 500 is declining during the midday, it did not bring on more new low to offset this new high, new low, because it's pretty much constant near this 207 level throughout the session. Once it came up to its close to that level, that peak level for the day. Then also we look at the up-down volume ratio. The up-down volume ratio ended at 1.08, so it's positive. And if you look at this chart here, it's pretty much remained at level, that constant ratio throughout the session, even though the S&P 500 was selling off, throughout the session. Now, although if we look at the VIX, the fear index, it did come up a little bit, but it came up from its low somewhere around the 24.23 to close at 26.59. Okay, so it did come up, but it's still well within this cautionary zone that we define between 20 and 30. So there's nothing to write home about, right? And then you look at the put-call ratio. The put-call ratio is pretty much flat, sitting somewhere around that 0.59, 0.6 level, right? If we see a massive, a panicky type of sell-off on the S&P 500 or the entire market, we see more put buying, and that should push this put-call ratio up at getting close to that 0.75, right? But right now, you look at it throughout the session, it's pretty much flat, sitting near that 0.6 area. Then you look at the advanced decline throughout the entire session, except near the end, the last 15 minutes, right? The advanced decline, the advancer was actually leading the decliner throughout the entire session. Although it's not by much, but it is positive, even though, the index, the S&P 500 was negative. So that tells you there were more advancing issues, than declining issues. So there are more strength in the market to push it higher if it want to really push. Now let's look at this daily chart on the sentiment. This is the daily S&P 500, and here's the daily on the VIX and the put-call ratio. So you can see that the VIX is still well within this 20-30 zone. And although it came up a bit, in the last two sessions, but it is nowhere close to, up at this 30 level here. And the put-call ratio, same thing. it is not even close near the 0.75. So yeah, the market participants are getting a little bit more cautious, but it is not totally abandoning on the taking on any risk. It's just that they are taking on less risk. And if we take a look at the up-down volume ratio, we see that the up-down volume ratio is slightly positive for the day, and we are all seeing negative advanced decline. So yesterday we also got a little bit of a negative advanced decline, more decliner than advancer, right? Because yesterday is also another negative day. But look at on Monday when we saw this big rally on Monday, the advanced decline shot up to over 2,000, or sitting 2,066. And also the up-down volume ratio was 5.12, right? So, comparing to these down day, this one here is minus 1.01. And today it's actually got a positive 1.07. And the advanced decline is, what's that? 465 more decliner than advancer on from yesterday. And, today is 170 more decliner than advancer. But look at on Monday, right? Monday, we got 2,066. So again, there is more strength toward the upside than weakness toward the downside. And here, looking at the new 52-week high versus new 52-week low in the New York Stock Exchange, you can see today, right? Today it's actually got more new 52-week high than on Monday, that big update on Monday, right? So go figure. Now here you see that the close, this is the close of the S&P 500. You see that it's closing pretty dramatically, downward from the last two sessions. But you look at the advanced decline, the advanced decline also came down a little bit, but it's not coming down as dramatic, in terms of the slope, the acceleration to the downside as the S&P 500 closed. And here looking at the Nasdaq market, now the Nasdaq market is a little different story, right? Because I've been tweeting and also I've been hinting to those of you that have been watching these videos from me about the rotation, right? The rotation and also the reopening, and that we are shifting away from the stay-at-home and the large cap tech stock, to the reopening stock, the value stock, and also such as the financial, energy, and industrial. And that's why you're seeing those stocks rotating into, to pushes up the Dow, right? The Dow 30, much more than you see the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. A lot of the component in the Nasdaq 100 is in the S&P 500. So the S&P 500 get dragged down a little bit, although a lot of the, the Dow 30 is also in the S&P 500. So you can see on the Nasdaq 100 here, this daily chart, you could see, pretty massive down day today, down 370 some odd point, or a little bit over 2.8%. But again, even though we see some weakness there, you look at the up-down volume ratio, we're only seeing 2.16 times more down volume than up volume, although that is, not a good sign, but it is not like -5, right? Okay, one would see more downside volume, frankly, when we see the Nasdaq market is down almost 3%, right, over 370 points. But also looking at the advanced decline, there are more decliners and advancer by the margin of 1,350 for the Nasdaq. Remember, the New York Stock Exchange, we were talking about 176 or something like that, right? More decliner than advancer. Here we're talking about 1,350. So that's quite a difference here between the two markets. Now, although on Monday when we saw this big rally, we did see the Nasdaq also participate with a broad participation, having 2,490 more advancing issue than declining issue. But definitely the Nasdaq is a little bit more weaker. Wouldn't be surprised, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Nasdaq 100 fail to make another new high as the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones 30 makes another new high. Now here's the new high, new low for the Nasdaq. You can see like yesterday, a big down day. We saw still, couple more, 11 more new 52-week high than 52-week low. And today down 300 some odd point, right? Almost 3%. You got 145 new high, more new high than new low. And on Monday with that big move, it was 177. So it's not that big of a margin between Monday and today, right? Today is 145 and Monday is 177, right? That's only a difference of 32. Not a big deal, but look at the difference between the market movement, the price movement, right? On Monday, right, it was up, and on today, it's down 300 some odd points. So that's a big difference. But here, the new high, new low didn't show that big of a difference. So again, internals are telling us the story. Don't just look at the price. Now, here's the advanced decline, the cumulative advanced decline. Once again, we see the Nasdaq 100, decline, this is the close, decline pretty steeply, while the, the advanced decline, the cumulative advanced decline also decline, but not as steep, but although it is steeper, than the New York Stock Exchange, right? And again, that shouldn't be a surprise to us because of the rotation. We expect a little bit more weakness from the Nasdaq than from the S&P and the Dow Jones. So you can see from the sentiment and also the internal, although the price action from the SP500 seems to be telling one story, but the sentiment and the internal is telling another story. Okay, so again, look at things in context. Don't let people scare you based on what they see on the surface. Right? Because until you look at things what really matter. It's just like if I'm just kind of looking at your facial color and say you are healthy or not, you can look very healthy because maybe you stand out in the sun for the last hour and got all red in your face and say, hey, you look healthy. But if I take your temperature and your pulse, you might be having a heart attack. Okay, so that's the thing about these internal. You can look on the surface on the price and say, oh my God, this is scary. But then when you take the pulse of the market and say, hey, nothing to worry about. This guy is probably just got the chill from the cold, spending 2 hours outside in the cold, right? So look at things in context. Understand what you're looking at. Study the market. Understand what is really important and relevant. All right, so let's go and take a look at some of the price action. Looking at this daily chart of the S&P 500, the thing that we're going to talk about here is really nothing new. It's nothing new from the weekly video that I put out. We are still looking for it to come down and fill this gap here, completely fill this gap. So it came down on Friday. It barely missed and completely filled that gap. So we are not surprised to see if it will come down and fill this gap. And it might not be surprising to us to see it come down and test its 3720. Now, does that mean it's a major market correction? Come on, give me a break. That's not even a 10%. So anyway, maybe that will lead to something. But until then, we'll see. So right now, if it comes down, continue to come down, we want to see would it be able to completely fill this gap and get a bounce off of the 3720 area. But if it bounces here, then yes, we're looking for a new high. And here we are looking at the Nasdaq 100. See the Nasdaq 100, ugly stuff, right? Nasdaq 100, yeah, I would say this could be the high for this cycle here. Depends. But I'm looking for this thing to come down to this 12,439 and fill this gap here. If it continues to come down, then ultimately it could even come down to this 12,204. But if it come up and reclaim this 13,280, then I'll be looking for this gap to fill. Then depend how it acts. Would it be able to come back up and get above this 13,600? If it does, then yeah, this high could be back in play. But until then, see, there's a lot of if, right? So let's see what are those if gonna do when it get there. And here the Russell 2000, we see the Russell 2000 is still above this upper trend line here on this channel. And we're saying that if it come into this channel, then yes, we might be able to see this thing to come down to somewhere around this 1935, work toward this 1935. But until then, we're also looking at the possibility of having some sort of a support down here as well between this, somewhere around 2075 area. But right now, until it come back into this channel, we could see a bounce off of that and break this pullback and possibly come up and put in a new high. Now in this video, I'd like to skip the Dow Jones Transportation for now and go to the Dow Jones Industrial, then come back and finish off with the transportation. Looking at the Dow Jones Industrial, remember we are saying that the Dow theory say that it is still expected to make a new all-time high. That's indeed the case, and I am still looking for it. Now, it could come down and test this 31,055 area. We've been saying that, right? It makes sense to come down to this trend line here on this intermediate channel within the channel. But if it break that, then yeah, could keep an eye on this 29,856 area. But again, based on the Dow theory, we're still looking for this high to get taken out on a closing basis. Now, let's go and take a look at the Dow Jones Transportation. If you look at the Dow Jones Transportation, it's been flirting with new high for the last couple of sessions. Today, it's almost closed at a new closing high until the last half an hour or so, then it pulled back and actually end up closing down. Now, the thing is, we're still looking for it to, if it pull back, come back into this lower channel trend line. So, but we essentially watching to see would it continue to push to a new high. Depend, right? Could come up to this 13,800 or even 14,000, right? But here's the question that I like to pose to all of you that are calling the market top on February 16 based on the S&P 500 is that, when is the last time that you see that the Dow Jones Transportation is the last index to put in a new high, to make a market top. And even though it did put in a new high, that was after February 16, people, okay? Now, I have never seen it. Right? Throughout all the years that I've been watching the market, maybe I overlooked it. Right? Maybe I missed it. But if any one of you could identify when it has happened before, point that out to me, then I'd be learning something new. But if you can't find it, then maybe what you think is happening might not be true. So go and find out to see, could you dig up, because I couldn't find out the last time, or has it ever happened that the Dow Jones Transportation put in a top. I seen Dow Jones Industrial put in a top. I seen SP500 fake a top. Notice I say fake a top, okay? But I never seen the Dow Jones Transportation put in a top. So let me know. That's the question that I want to pose you folks that have been calling the top. And I'll be honest with you, I could be totally incorrect. It could be, yeah, like all these people say, this time is different. Maybe it is this time is different, but I doubt it. Okay? But hey, I could be wrong. Let me know when. When was it last time that the Dow Jones Transportation actually put in a new high, and was the last index to put in a new high, then the market reversed and have a major correction. Okay? So thank you for watching. Be sure to click that thumbs up to help me share and promote this video. And stay safe.